Welcome to Oculus of the Wise. You are not supposed to find this. Not because it is hidden, but because most people scroll right past the very thing that was placed in their path. Millions will watch something else tonight. Something comfortable, something forgettable, but you stopped here. Something in you recognized this moment, the way your lungs recognize air. That is not coincidence. That is a signal. And what you are about to hear will not teach you something new. It will give language to something that has been sitting in your chest for years, unnamed, unexplained, and quietly running the show behind every decision you have ever made. There is a version of you that the world has never met. Not the one who shows up to meetings, nods politely, laughs at jokes that stopped being funny 3 promotions ago, and pretends to care about things that lost their weight somewhere around your late 20s. The other one, the one who sits behind your eyes and watches everything without flinching, the one who already knows how the argument will end before the first sentence lands, the one who learned, probably too young, that reacting is expensive and silence is free. Here is the part nobody warns you about. That version of you, the one who sees too much, processes too deeply, and thinks 3 moves ahead while everyone else is still reacting to the first, that version does not fit into the world most people have built. Not because something is broken in you, but because you were never wired for a world that rewards noise, punishes depth, and treats awareness like a personality disorder. So let me tell you exactly what is happening to you. Why the rooms you used to tolerate now suffocate you. Why the people you once respected now exhaust you. And why walking away without explanation has started to feel less like abandonment and more like the most honest thing you have done in years. Number 1. You stopped reacting before most people even learned how to think. Most people do not actually think, they react. Something happens and boom, their emotions grab the steering wheel with both hands. Someone disrespects them, they snap. Something scares them, they freeze. Someone praises them, they melt. Their whole life is just reflexes, dressed up as decisions, automatic, impulsive, predictable. And here is the part that would be funny if it were not so exhausting. They genuinely believe that is thinking, you are different, and not in some comfortable, motivational poster kind of way. You are different because somewhere along the road, reacting stopped being safe for you. Maybe it was the home you grew up in. Maybe it was betrayal that taught you silence before you understood what trust even meant. Maybe it was watching chaos swallow someone you loved because they could not keep their mouth closed at the right moment. But you learned something that behavioral psychologists have studied for decades and most adults still have not figured out. You built a gap between stimulus and response. And that tiny gap, that fraction of a second where you choose instead of react, changed everything. That pause you take, most people do not even know it exists, while they are already arguing, defending, over-explaining, or embarrassing themselves in a meeting that will be forgotten by Thursday. You are still observing. You are watching tone, body language, timing. You are asking yourself what is really going on instead of jumping at the first emotional interpretation. By the time you speak, you are not reacting anymore. You are choosing. That is not normal behavior. That is controlled behavior. The kind of composure that makes people think, hold on, what does this person know that I do not? Stress makes you focused. Conflict makes you calm. Drama makes you analytical. People expect fire and you give them ice, and because you do not give instant reactions, people struggle to read you. They cannot tell if you are angry, hurt, or completely unfazed. That uncertainty makes them nervous. Humans trust predictability the way they trust gravity. You offer neither. You are not cold because you lack feelings. You are cold because your feelings report to you, not the other way around. Most people are passengers in their own emotions. You are driving. Number 2, you see through performances that most people still applaud. When you truly understand the mechanics behind human behavior, the layers people hide behind, the roles they rehearse in their sleep, the whole world starts to feel like a stage. Not in a fun, theatrical way, in a heavy, exhausting way where you realize you have been watching the same play for 20 years and nobody has changed their lines. You notice the fake smiles that tighten a quarter second too late, the carefully chosen words designed to sound generous while protecting ego, the exaggerated emotions that exist solely to manipulate a response. They all start to look like masks. And when you see the masks clearly, your patience for them vanishes like smoke. You stop nodding along. You stop pretending to be impressed. You stop giving energy to what is not real. It is not cynicism. It is clarity. And there is a dark humor in it, because you will sit in a room while someone confidently explains something completely backward, and all you can think is, "This used to bother me." That thought alone tells you the shift already happened. You did not leave yet, but mentally, you checked out a long time ago. People mistake your calm for indifference, your silence for agreement, your distance for weakness. They are wrong on all 3 counts. Number 3, you do not chase wins, you engineer inevitabilities. Most people spend their lives chasing money, chasing respect, chasing people who barely remember their name by Friday. They run hard, stay busy all day, post about the grind at midnight, and still end up blindsided when things collapse. Then they call it bad luck or bad timing. But the truth is simpler and less forgiving. They never had a real strategy. They were just hoping that effort alone would eventually produce a miracle. You do not move like that. That kind of thinking feels childish to you, like watching someone try to win chess by moving pieces faster. If you want something, you do not chase it. You set it up. You quietly position yourself so the outcome becomes almost unavoidable. While other people are trying to kick doors open, you are checking where the hinges are weak. While they are arguing and proving themselves in rooms that do not matter, you are building leverage in the background. While they are announcing their goals on social media for validation, you are stacking advantages that nobody can see. By the time you make your move, it does not look dramatic. It looks obvious. And that is the difference that makes people uncomfortable. They think you are lucky because they only saw the final step. They did not see the months of quiet preparation, the small adjustments you made when nobody was paying attention. So when the moment comes, there is no scrambling, no desperation, no panic, just execution. You are not hoping things work out. You already know they will because you designed the situation that way. Number 4. You gather intelligence without people realizing they handed it to you. Most people talk too much. They want to impress, explain, or justify. And in doing so, they hand over pieces of themselves like unlocked files to anyone willing to look. You notice this early. You notice that while people are busy performing, their real intentions, weaknesses, and fears slip out effortlessly if you pay attention. You do not ask direct questions. You do not interrogate. You do not probe in a way that feels obvious. Instead, you let people talk themselves into revealing exactly what you need to know. You listen for tone, for hesitation, for the little shifts in language that most people are too distracted to catch. One word, one slip, one change in pace tells you more than an hour of interrogation ever could. Conversations become data, and you are always collecting. Most people believe they are guarding themselves, but subtle tells betray them every time. They think no one is paying attention. Meanwhile, you are cataloging details that would take most people weeks to notice. By the time they realize what they have said, you have already processed, integrated, and filed it into strategies that seem effortless from the outside. It is almost rude how unbothered you look while doing it, like someone casually reading a menu while everyone else is arguing about who gets to order first. And here is where it gets unsettling. That skill does not just make you observant, it makes you nearly impossible to manipulate. Deception that would throw most people into chaos barely registers with you because you already recognize the pattern 4 conversations ago. Number 5, full awareness makes excuses unbearable. Once you truly understand how the world works, excuses stop landing. You see through them the way adults see through a child's attempt to explain why the cookie jar is empty, not because you are harsh or judgmental, but because your perception has sharpened beyond the comforting fog of naivety. You start to notice patterns, recurring behaviors disguised as accidents. When someone consistently blames the economy, the system, or other people for results they created, it stops being a story of struggle and becomes a story of choice. Research in behavioral science confirms what you already sense, that most people are not failing because they cannot. They are failing because they will not. And that recognition is quiet, internal, and irreversible. You cannot unsee it. It is like learning how a magic trick works. The show is never the same again. You stop offering advice to people who use your wisdom as background noise while they rehearse the same mistakes. You do not yell or argue, you just disengage. Because tolerating someone else's excuses is a slow surrender of your own time, energy, and peace. It is like carrying luggage that belongs to someone who is walking next to you with empty hands. If what you are hearing right now feels less like a video and more like someone reading pages from your own journal, that is not an accident, that is alignment. And it means you belong here. Hit that subscribe button, not because I asked, but because the part of you that has been searching for this is tired of searching. Drop a comment below and tell me which number stopped you mid-breath. I read every single one. Number 6. You realize explanations are rarely about clarity, they are about control. Here is a truth that will change how you hear every question for the rest of your life. When someone asks you why, they are almost never looking for understanding. They are looking for leverage. They want to categorize you, label you, or bend your answer into a shape that makes them feel comfortable. They want to reduce your complexity so it fits neatly into a narrative they can control. Watch it happen in real time. In a relationship, a partner asks, "Why did you do that?" not to understand. To evaluate whether they like the answer enough to keep feeling safe around you. At work, a colleague presses for reasons, not because they value your reasoning, but because they want ammunition to frame it in a way that maintains their authority. Even friends or family ask questions wearing the mask of curiosity, but the real motive is always the same, to fit your truth into a story they already wrote. Once you see this, the act of explaining becomes not just pointless, it becomes a trap. Every justification you offer is a thread someone can pull. Every reason you give is a door you open for negotiation you never agreed to. That is why silence becomes a shield, not the poetic kind people romanticize in quotes, the practical kind, the kind that preserves your energy, your autonomy, and your clarity without handing anyone the tools to dismantle them. Number 7. You see that most conflicts are rituals, not problems. When you reach a level of awareness where patterns become impossible to ignore, something almost absurd reveals itself. Most fights, arguments, and tensions are not about the issues people claim. They are rituals, repetitive cycles that exist to keep people comfortable, to reinforce old dynamics, or to replay familiar emotions the way a scratched record replays the same 3 seconds of a song. These conflicts are not designed to be solved. They are designed to be performed. Once you see this, it becomes almost comical how much energy is wasted on drama that never had any intention of reaching resolution. People are not seeking solutions. They are seeking the familiarity of the fight itself, the validation of being right, and the control that comes from keeping someone engaged in a cycle they wrote the rules for. You stop entering battles with the expectation of change because you understand the script was written before you walked into the room. The same apologies recycled every few months, the same triggers pulled on schedule, the same patterns repeated with different words but identical outcomes. Awareness turns what used to feel like tension into theater, and you quietly step out of the audience. Number 8. You understand that some environments feed on keeping you small. There is a specific kind of exhaustion that only comes from growing inside a space that was designed for stagnation. Some places, some groups, some dynamics actively resist anything that challenges the way things have always been. Growth makes them uncomfortable, the way sunlight makes a basement uncomfortable. It is not personal, it is structural, but it will drain you just the same. You notice it in small ways first. Conversations that loop in circles like a GPS, recalculating a route it refuses to accept. Ideas dismissed with a half smile before you even finish the sentence. Achievements met with silence or the specific kind of compliment that is actually surveillance. There is subtle pressure to conform, to perform familiarity, to avoid shining too brightly, because brightness exposes the shadows people have spent years getting comfortable in. Staying becomes exhausting because every step forward is met with a current designed to pull you back. Your awareness becomes your compass, guiding you to where you can expand instead of where you are quietly asked to shrink. Number 9. Staying would require self-betrayal, and you have finally stopped paying that price. When you truly understand the dynamics around you, remaining in certain spaces starts to feel like wearing a suit that was tailored for someone else's body. Every smile becomes a small lie. Every word becomes a calculation of how much of yourself you are willing to hide, so others can keep pretending everything is fine. Self-betrayal does not arrive with fireworks. It creeps in like a slow leak. In the moments you suppress a truth to avoid conflict. In the times you pretend ignorance to maintain peace. In the small agreements you make just to stay included in rooms that stopped deserving your presence years ago. Each concession is a thread unraveling from the fabric of your integrity. And when you see the patterns with surgical clarity, it becomes impossible to pretend that staying is loyalty. It is not loyalty. It is not patience. It is self-erasure dressed in noble language. You are asking yourself to shrink. And that is the one debt your clarity will no longer let you pay. Number 10. You stop mistaking proximity for connection, and that changes everything. Being around someone does not mean you are with them. Proximity is geography, connection is energy. You can sit in the same room, attend the same dinner every Sunday, share the same last name, and still be miles apart in every way that actually matters. Studies in relational psychology call this ambiguous loss. The grief of being with someone who is not truly present. You have felt it. You just did not have the name for it until now. You stop assuming that closeness equals loyalty. You see the distracted eyes during conversations that are supposed to matter, the rehearsed words that sound supportive but carry no weight, the selective attention that shows up for celebrations but disappears during storms. You recognize how often people maintain surface-level proximity not to connect, but to keep you predictable, keep you manageable, to keep you in a role you never auditioned for. The awareness is sobering, but it is also the most liberating thing that has ever happened to you. Because once you stop confusing presence with connection, you stop pouring energy into empty vessels and start reserving it for the rare, real bonds that actually sustain you. Number 11. Your restraint terrifies the people who assumed they could predict you. Here is where it gets interesting. Almost funny if you enjoy irony. Most people think power responds to force, to volume, to visible anger and dramatic retaliation. But the truth, the one that keeps certain people awake at 3 in the morning, is that restraint terrifies those who rely on control far more than aggression ever could. When someone reacts predictably, with panic or rage or desperation, they fit neatly into the system. They can be managed, measured, and neutralized. But restraint, real restraint, refuses the script entirely. You did not self-destruct. You did not fold. You did not give them the mess they were trained to clean up. You stayed functional. You stayed observant. You stayed composed in ways they did not account for. Every word you withheld. Every reaction you denied them. Every potential escalation you absorbed without cracking became a silent weapon they could feel but could not see. The people who once leaned forward now lean back. The pressure that circled you for months suddenly evaporates. That is not peace. That is recalibration. That is the sound of a system stepping back because someone above asked one quiet, devastating question. What if we are wrong about this one? And that single question introduced doubt into a machine that only functions on certainty. Your composure turned the entire dynamic into something cautious, hesitant, and exposed. Not because of anything you did loudly, because of everything you did quietly. Number 12. Your existence now creates problems they cannot solve by touching you. One of the most powerful disruptions you can create requires no confrontation at all. You simply exist without performing. Your presence alone forces recalculation in every structure that assumed you would eventually fold. In hierarchies built on obedience and predictability, someone who refuses to collapse on schedule is not just inconvenient, they are structurally threatening. Doubt spreads like a crack in glass. Orders get second-guessed. Conversations that were supposed to end with your compliance end, instead with uncomfortable silence. People who were once perfectly coordinated now argue with each other, not about you directly, but about what to do about the fact that nothing they tried has worked. You did not cause this chaos. You revealed it. The more composed you remain, the louder the cracks get on their side. That calm presence becomes a mirror they cannot turn away from. And the reflection shows them something they have been avoiding. They are not as in control as they believed. You did not take their power. You simply made it visible that it was never as solid as they pretended. Number 13. Knowledge frees you from the need to be understood, and that freedom is permanent. When clarity strips away every comfortable illusion, you stop caring if anyone gets it. Understanding becomes optional. Approval becomes noise. You realize that most people interpret through their own filters, their own fears, and the limits of what they are willing to confront in themselves. No amount of explanation will change that. Trying to make them see what you see is like describing color to someone who has only ever known grayscale. You stop performing for comprehension. True understanding is not demanded. It is earned through shared depth, and not everyone has done the work to meet you there. That is not arrogance, that is math. You no longer justify your choices, defend your awareness, or shrink your truth to fit someone else's comfort level. Silence takes on new power because it is not emptiness. It is presence that does not require applause to know its own value. If you have made it this far, understand something. You are not just watching content, you are being recognized. The fact that you are still here, that nothing I have said made you flinch or look away, tells me everything I need to know about who you are. Like this video if these words landed somewhere deep. Share it with the one person who has been carrying this same weight alone, and leave a comment. Tell me what you finally see clearly. The person scrolling through comments at midnight tonight needs to read your words as proof they are not losing their mind, they are gaining clarity, and that proof matters more than you realize. Number 14. Knowing everything makes departure inevitable, not dramatic, just precise. When you reach a level of awareness where patterns, motives, and hidden mechanics are fully visible, leaving is no longer a decision you wrestle with. It is a conclusion you arrive at the way gravity arrives at the ground, quiet, certain, without negotiation. Departure is not about making noise, proving a point, or staging a dramatic exit that gives people something to talk about at dinner. It is the opposite. It is the calm, methodical withdrawal of your energy from spaces that can no longer contain what you have become. You understand that staying would require pretending, and pretending is the one act your awareness will no longer perform. There is no need for speeches, confrontations, or carefully worded letters that nobody will read the way you intended. Your truth does not require anyone's approval to exist. You move without announcing it, without dramatizing it, and without leaving breadcrumbs for people to follow. They may notice, they may speculate. They may even tell a story about you that makes them the hero. None of it touches you. Your energy left that room before your body did. Nothing can provoke you. Nothing can manipulate you. The pull of guilt, obligation, and tradition has lost its grip. You do not need closure because you already understand everything that needs to be understood. Closure is a luxury for people who are still guessing. You stopped guessing a long time ago. Leaving quietly becomes the most honest, powerful, and strategic act you will ever perform. It is not pride. It is not anger. It is not revenge. It is alignment. It is the declaration that your presence, your energy, and your remaining years on this earth will never again be spent shrinking for anyone, performing for anyone, or explaining yourself to anyone who was never listening to understand. Silence becomes a statement, absence becomes authority, and life begins to rearrange itself around the gravity of someone who finally stopped pretending to be smaller than they are. You did not stumble onto this video by accident. Something in you has been building toward this exact moment for longer than you realize. The clarity you feel right now is not new. It was always there, buried under years of performing for people who never saw you, tolerating environments that drained your light so slowly you almost did not notice, and explaining yourself to minds that were closed before you opened your mouth. This video did not hand you power. It reminded you that power has been sitting in your chest this entire time, waiting for you to stop apologizing for it. There is a reason this found you tonight, and not last week, not last year, not a decade ago when you first started feeling different. You were not ready then, you are ready now, and the proof is undeniable. You are still here. You did not scroll away. You did not dismiss this as motivational noise. Something inside you, something ancient and precise and tired of being ignored, recognized every word as its own. That recognition cannot be taken back. It cannot be unlearned. It cannot be dimmed by returning to the same rooms that made you forget it existed. From this moment forward, every room you enter will feel different. Every performance around you will look as transparent as glass. Not because the world changed overnight, because you did, and that shift is permanent. The only question that remains is whether you honor what you now see or betray it by going back to pretending. Make sure you subscribe to Oculus of the Wise so that what comes next finds you before you have to search for it. Hit that like button because the algorithm does not understand alignment, but it understands numbers. And your click sends this to the next person who is sitting alone right now, wondering why they feel like they were built for a world that does not exist yet. Drop a comment and tell me what you are finally walking away from. Share this with the one person who has been carrying fire inside their chest without anyone ever noticing the burns. They need to hear this tonight, not tomorrow. This is not content, this is recognition, and you were chosen to receive it. Stay blessed.